Circle time is about developing self-awareness in children and to help them to understand how they can take more responsibility for themselves.
Lots of games, every day we play a different game. And when we're special, we can do whatever you want, and I can go and register.
Do you enjoy anything about school?
I enjoy the way that we talk about things in the morning and that, and we play some good games. Swims. I like it when they say to me, I like the way you draw, the way you dance, the way you sing, the way you're my best friend. And I like it because when they say all nice things about me, they've never said things like that to me before.
In my opinion, there's definitely a correlation between the fact that if children think better about themselves, then they're more prepared to learn, and they retain information longer. They definitely do better in school. So what we're actually talking about in circle time is self-esteem.
If they feel good about themselves, it doesn't matter what they do academically, they're going to cope. They might not shine at English, they might never be mathematicians, but they're going to cope with living because they feel they are capable, worthwhile people.
Took the edge of my back off.
And that's as important to put into these children as the academic side. It's perhaps even more important where we live because they don't get it from home, a lot of them.
And there was a gap, and I shot across to get the way I was going, and this man was driving so fast, he wasn't even thinking about other people on the road. So by the time I set off on...
And things really came to a head at the end of the last summer term when all the staff were exhausted, all the staff were complaining that every break there were fights, there were arguments. It took 20 minutes, half an hour to settle the children down after they'd been out. And I noticed that I was walking around the school going from one fight to another fight, pulling children out. So-and-so said so-and-so, we'll go and fetch so-and-so, we'll find out why they said it. And I spent all my time sorting out football arguments, and he said so-and-so to me, and so I bashed him, type activities. And it just seemed there had to be a better way of putting something into the whole school.
I can tell you that circle time is about improving low self-esteem, and it's about children with high self-esteem about maintaining their sense of well-being. And thirdly, it's just to help children cope with the ups and downs of everyday life.
Change. Because the thing I'm going to ask you to change...
One way we do this is to give the children a lot of opportunities to speak for themselves and to be heard, and to really learn how to support each other and to listen to each other. It always begins with a round. Now, a round is where the teacher will initiate some statement or another which will then he or she will complete.
Round today is, I would like a magic ring that would. So this magic ring could do any one thing for you.
And then the children will copy by making the same statement and completing it with their own.
I would like a magic ring that would get rid of colds instantly.
I would like a magic ring to make a castle for me. I like a magic ring to give me a new bike whenever I needed it. I would like a magic ring to make me disappear. I would like a magic ring so I can have no robots working for me. I'd like a magic ring so everybody was happy. I'd like a magic ring so that nobody could stop me from breaking up. I'd like
Stop me keeping...
breaking up the pen.
Oh.
I'd like a magic ring that would make Christmas every day. I'd like a magic ring score goals every day.
I like a magic ring so I can stop beating up my sister.
I like a magic ring to stop my sister beating me up. I'd like a magic ring to take me to a quiet countryside.
I'd like a magic ring that could turn me into all different animals.
I like a magic ring to get me places when I need them.
I'd like a magic ring so I could meet all famous pop stars that are famous horses.
Often doing the round gets you listening to the children. It passes the buck too. As the round goes round the class, you're not at the centre.
Magic ring would pose me to go horse
I'd like a magic ring that would bring our rabbit back.
I'd like a magic ring which made diamond rings instantly.
I'd like a magic ring what gives you money every time you want it.
Okay, I suppose we could go round and round, probably think of more things. We'll stop there.
Lots of children in a typical classroom can get lost at the beginning of the day. They may be doing something profitable, they might be doing reading, writing or arithmetic, but they're not actually going to be heard by the whole of the class.
Doesn't your mum wash your clothes?
Sometimes not.
Gareth?
I'd like a magic ring that makes my dreams come true.
Right, lovely.
I wish I had a magic ring that would tidy up my bedroom.
It's a time when each child can think, this is for me, which is important.
You would like a magic ring that does what?
The magic ring, I would make it, make clothes to money.
Make loads of money.
And everybody listens. And there again, that's good to watch children listening to each other there and then. They do that very well.
If I had a magic ring, I had a magic ring, make it do all that.
And also the fact that each day we make a practice of focusing on one special child each day.
They like my Christmas cards. I'm a good friend to them. And I swim well.
And you swim well.
Well, each day we use some device or another to select one child from out of the group. But don't show the portrait, just keep it to yourself.
I'm a girl. I live in a house with a green door. I have my ears pierced. I like dancing. I do dancing well.
Joanne, choose somebody to guess. Who's it?
Marie.
Marie.
Yeah.
There we are.
Dancing.
That child is appreciated by any of the other children in the group by saying what they like about them. Okay. Choose. Who wants to say something about Marie, please? You choose Marie. Who they are.
Nice earrings and nice clothes.
Kind.
We never fight.
What, Lee?
She never fights.
Never fights.
I don't care what Miss says, but you know she doesn't say you don't do nice writing, but I reckon you do. Well, Miss said to me she doesn't do nice writing, but she does.
It's, again, an important self-esteem raising exercise, because if you say I like at the beginning of the statement, then that is an opinion and the child can't contradict it. It's, if you say you are clever, a child can deny it and say I'm not clever. If someone says I think you are clever, then there's no denying that. That is a fact.
Very nice clothes. Sensible.
They're written down on the same piece of paper where the child has put the self-portrait, as a written record of some of the nice things that have been said, so they can keep that and take it home. And also, most importantly, the child is asked to say what she or he can share with the group about what they think is special about them.
Can you tell us something about yourself?
And that's a difficult one for most children.
Don't know. I'd like to hear a bit more about your dancing, especially after what Scott said.
I'll do belly dancing and tap.
The fact that it is difficult shows how important it is, that we don't appreciate ourselves enough. So children need to be encouraged to say something about themselves, just to share something about themselves that perhaps the rest of the class don't know.
Tell me some of the things that they said.
I was kind, polite, nice to be with, funny, intelligent, good at writing, good at maths.
If there's one that's even better than the rest, which one's that?
Nice person to be with.
Good swimmer, good friend, good writer. What else did I say about me? Intelligent. Good. Sometimes. Always there when I need them, when they need me.
Can't remember now.
Anything?
Like the way I smile.
We have 3 rules in circle time. One is that only one person at a time speaks, that they listen to others when they speak, and that we all have fun. They are energizing activities in as much that if children like movement, and why shouldn't they have movement first thing in the day?
Good morning, and what is your name? Louise! 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 Come on my train, Louise.
Games such as locomotion, where a child will come to the centre and will make a movement and invite others to
Good morning,
copy.
sir. And what is your name?
Christopher.
His name is Christopher. Ready? Christopher! Christopher! Christopher, are you jumping? Good. Christopher!
They're very simple games
Christopher,
indeed,
Christopher,
but
Christopher.
there are very few children that don't enjoy them tremendously. At the moment we've got about 10 basic games in there, and we're increasing them all the time.
What's your name? Joanne. Joanne.
Joanne. Ready? Joanne! 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 Joanne!
And in fact children are making up their own and suggesting them, which is very good.
Stacey. 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 Stacey.
The whole atmosphere in the room is a good one, and is a learning atmosphere.
Will you sit down the same place?
I think it does change the quality of the attention you bring to children. I mean, often if you know children just in a sort of curriculum-bound context, you relate to them in that way, and then suddenly when you know them more personally, or you know, you actually open up to them more, you become more sympathetic. You don't necessarily misread disruptive behaviour as just a child being bolshy or difficult. You don't, I suppose in a way you move away from here more over to there. You know, you move away from teacher trying to protect self in the interests of keeping the show going, to actually, you know, that kind of self-forgetting which is a part of going out to other people.
We spend a lot of time looking at feelings and emotions with the idea that if they understand themselves more, they're going to appreciate other people more.
Good. Now the word I'm holding up in front of me says cooperation. And in fact on the sheet it says cooperation is. Now I'm going to pass this sheet round, and as you get hold of it I'm going to ask you to hold it in front of you like that. Right? And when you get it I'm going to ask you to say cooperation is, and you've got to say one thing that you think cooperation is. Just one thing about it. Okay? Cooperation is being prepared to take turns.
Cooperation. I can't say it.
Okay. Cooperation.
Cooperation is helping people. Cooperation is when you work in groups.
Cooperation is being friends.
If you're a bit stuck, you can think of one example. No, let me. Think of just one example, something that you do at school or in the playground to do with cooperation, and just mention that.
Good.
Cooperation. Cooperation.
Cooperation is. Don't worry about saying. If you find it difficult to say the word, just we'll say the word for you. You just give us the example. You're just getting on with. Okay, give it to Hyen, and Hyen will help you. She'll come out with one that you can share.
Cooperation is helpful.
Cooperation is what?
Helpful people.
Helping people. Good, fine.
Cooperation is joining in.
Cooperation is understanding. Cooperation is joining in club. Cooperation is being friends. Cooperation is
It'll be not getting out of bed.
Cooperation is talking instead of fighting. Cooperation is getting on with each other.
Cooperation is working with friends.
Cooperation is getting on well with friends. Cooperation is working together. Cooperation is playing netball.
Good. Well done. Cooperation is, can be anything to do with getting on with others, actually working together with others, interacting with them, and being prepared to listen, being prepared to do something together. Now, I'm going to give you a short time now to prepare a short sketch that you can show. All right? A drama sketch, I mean, that you can show. All right? And that sketch has got to show some aspect of cooperation.
Cooperation is stopping people fighting. I'm the one who you're fighting. Right? Stop fighting, you two. He's starting up to. And you. He's starting. You're just right now. Come on.
This activity highlights the value of cooperation. If the children begin to realise that they're more likely to get their own needs met when they listen to the needs of others, then it will be well worthwhile. It's about discovering how everyone's needs can be met without resorting to violence and aggression and conflict. And it's about relating to others in a positive and supportive way.
Some aspects of cooperation. So perhaps at the end, when you've finished, one or two people in the group could just say one or two brief words about why you think that showed cooperation.
I'll see you, bye.
I think that's so clear. You don't need to tell us. Very clear. Come into the circle.
Come on then. Yeah, come on then.
Cut out, you two. Make friends. Come on, sorry.
We love you all.
Cut it out, you two.
What's
You don't have to listen, mate. Right.
We're bloody singing.
Cut it out.
We're bloody singing.
All right, don't have to get a panic.
Why just stop us for it?
Come on, you got Mr. May White.
Why?
It seemed, from sitting here watching it, the first bit very much showed the group learning to cooperate, and the second bit, it looked as if the cooperation had broken down.
Yeah, because me and Cole fight and spinning to cut it up, and we made friends who were singing, and he got jealous and just started to break it
I
up.
didn't get
So we had
jealous.
cooperation and non-cooperation.
Yeah.
Good. It's very clear. Well done. At the stables, did you say?
Yeah.
I can't get on.
I'll help you. Stay there, Horace.
It's fun riding with friends. Cooperation is
working. It's about working together and helping each other.
This is very, of course, a basic part of self-esteem. If you can sort it out yourself, you're going to know that you're capable of dealing with anything, rather than having to turn to an adult all the time.
What do you enjoy about being special?
People are nice to you. They play with you. They let you do things that you can't normally do.
And what about the teachers? How are they with you when you're special?
They're nice. They let you do what you like. Some of them, like, they're nice. They're nice to talk to and that, but afterwards they're just back to normal after you've had your special day. And they're still nice to you though.
So when a baby cries, somebody rushes to pick it up, don't they? And they check, does it need a clean nappy? Yes, Jane.
Can you do what baby does?
No. Thank you. Does it need a new nappy? Does it need a cuddle? Does it need feeding? So whenever a baby complains or squawks or does anything, somebody rushes to make it feel good, don't they? Suddenly one day when the baby's toddling around and it reaches out to touch the television, somebody says, no, don't touch it. The baby gets such a shock because nobody's ever seen it, and it had a golden crown and everybody was there to make it happy. It's gradually getting squashed down and it's getting all clumsy and turning green and it's turning into an ugly old froz. Isn't that sad? So from a prince it's turned into a froz. How do we turn this lovely little froz back into a prince, or this ugly little froz back into a prince? Well, it's magic and I'm going to tell you how.
One problem in any school is name calling. There's a lot of unpleasantness caused by the way children quickly identify other children's weaknesses and make up names to really put their point home. We have got several words of our own which derive from other sources, but we have our own language here so that the children know what warm fuzzies and cold pricklies are.
You haven't ever met a warm fuzzy? Let me pass a warm fuzzy to someone. Nice to see you. You're looking really good. That's a warm fuzzy. Isn't it simple? It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't take any effort. Can you turn to your partner or turn to somebody sitting next to you and give them a quick warm fuzzy? You don't want to go over there? Okay. Right. If it hurts, it's a cold prickly. Cold pricklies are the opposite of warm fuzzies. Cold pricklies are the things that make it... You think it's babyish for somebody to smile at you and say hello. Do you? Who thinks it's babyish to have friends smile at them and say well done? Who thinks it's baby? Well, I think we'll have to have a chat about that sometime. I think that's quite sad. Okay? We'll talk about that sometime.
We use a number of ways to make this point. One is where a story will be read to the class about a child who has a day in which has so many unpleasant things happening.
This is a story about Claire, and she's about the same age as you are. One morning, Claire wakes up to see the sun shining through her bedroom curtains, making a yellow splodge on the brown curtains. She lies and looks at her sunny curtains, and she feels really good. Claire gets dressed, and she goes downstairs. Her baby brother has been sick on his clean clothes, and her mother's feeling very cross. She sees that Claire has fastened her buttons in the wrong order, and she says, "You silly girl, it's high time you could dress yourself." How old, Claire? On the way to school, Claire's mother meets a friend, and they walk along together talking. Hold Claire up so everybody can see her. To get to school, they have to cross the road at a pelican crossing. As they come near to it, Claire decides to run ahead and press the button so that her mother won't have to wait so long for the lights to change. Her mother catches up to her and grabs her, shouting, "Don't be so stupid." She's had a cold prickly. Tear a bit off and pass her on. "Don't be so stupid. You'll get run over." Claire feels like crying. Some other girls are whispering in a corner. They say, "Go away. This is a secret."
Come.
Oh my God. There are sausages for dinner today. Claire hates sausages, and she just sits and looks at her plate. The server on her table says she can't have any pudding if she doesn't eat her sausages. Claire likes the pudding, but she can't eat her sausages, and she starts to cry. Someone says, "Look, Claire's crying again." It's home time at last. Claire goes home with her mother. They sit down to have tea. Claire hardly ate any dinner, so she's very hungry, and she eats her tea very quickly so she can have some more. Her father says, "Don't be greedy." And Claire goes to bed. She sleeps really well, and when she wakes up, the sun is shining on her bedroom curtains, and she feels good. But look what's happened to Claire through the one day. Hold up the picture of Claire. Hold up the picture of Claire. What's left of Claire? That's how she's been made to feel through the day, with all the cold pricklies making her feel a little bit smaller and less important each time.
We talk about how you can change other people's days for them. Do they themselves like to be called these names? Do they like to give other children the experience of being ostracized in the playground? Things that happen all day.
Let's think of some really nice warm fuzzies that we could give to Claire to make her feel better. What could you say to Claire to make her feel better? Hey.
Will you be my best friend as well, because I like you?
Right, so another one would be her best friend because she liked her. Right. All right, so.
When she falls over, I can help her.
Rush to pick her up.
By talking about it in this way, we hope that they'll be aware that if they don't want the experience themselves, then the only thing they can do to improve the situation is to change their own behaviour.
I can't see you two, Kerry, so I'm hoping that you're doing it properly now. Scott is absolutely splendid demonstration of good breathing here.
We're also using relaxation as a way into visualization work. The value of guided fantasy is something which I believe in a lot.
Really great. Now, what I'd like you to do, everybody can obviously do it very well, is to break out of the circle and find yourself a space where you either can sit just as you're sitting now, or you can lie with your back on the floor. You choose.
Visualizations have several benefits. First, they use the creative imagination to help children develop an awareness that they can direct their thoughts and achieve a specific attitude.
When you're breathing properly, you're getting the oxygen going to your brain, which is making your brain function better. And we're going to have a short trip. We're going to use our imagination. The part of the mind that sees pictures and that can create stories. So we're going to take a trip now, and this trip starts off in a field. It may be a field that you've already been in somewhere, or it may be a new field that you've never seen before. But wherever it is, you're really pleased to be there because it's a very lovely day. There's a path through this field, and you decide that you're going to walk along it to see where it takes you. And as the path curves, you see a stream. It looks very cool and inviting.
It can help with inner discipline and self-acceptance and self-confidence too. So today the children and I are going for a walk to the woods.
As you look around, you see a little deer comes out of the trees on the other side of the stream. And the deer takes a long look at you, and you look at the deer, and just by looking at it, the deer can tell that you don't mean it any harm. It looks at you as if to say, thanks, you're a real friend, you've allowed me to do what I wanted to do. You haven't interfered with me. So the deer has gone, and you're sitting there enjoying it. And you decide that it's time to leave. And as you're walking along the path through the field, you see the school. And as you get to the playground gate, the bell must have rung because all the other children are going in. So you join in with them. And you go in through the door, and you walk along the corridor, and you're back in this classroom. And just when you're ready, you open your eyes, and you have a stretch. And here you are.
So, someone identical to me just locking up his bike in the bike sheds.
That's interesting. Casey?
I saw the deer looking at me. I sort of saw, you know, real pictures, and that sort of shocked me. And the deer sort of turned into a lion or something. Because I saw a wildlife film last night, so it must have kept into my head. And
I saw a deer with big horns.
Did you?
Yeah.
A stag?
Yeah, stag, yes.
And what did it do? Did that come out and come to the water or what?
Well, that came to the water.
Yes. And what did you feel? Did you think, oh gosh?
I thought it was going to run away, but it didn't.
It didn't, no. So you felt friendly towards it. Obviously that felt friendly towards you. Right.
And I jumped out the river and ran down the path because I thought it was going to bite my toes.
Right.
So I ran all the way down down the path into the playground. I was out of breath.
I like the formal structure that we have because it concentrates children on the activity that they're doing. It's a time which each child can think, this is for me, which is important. It's an opportunity to share what's going on for them outside, or for them to leave it firmly behind, whichever they choose to do.